Good evening. It's a great pleasure for me to be here with you, and great honor and a great joy to meet such lovely friends and in a Spirit Center. And tonight we're going to speak a very special theme. We're going to speak about Jesus and the joy in life. As you know, the name of this house is Love and Charity. So I'm going to ask you to treat me with love and charity because my English is from Ceará. It's a state from Brazil, so it's not a native language. So whenever I make up some new words that don't exist in English, you please raise your hand, then I'll rephrase it, okay? Promise me? Because I want to, that people that maybe in the internet watching us can understand. And sometimes they don't have the blessing of being married with a Brazilian woman, isn't it right? So I appreciate the invitation. And I would like to start with a psychographic message, like automatic writing by Chico Xavier, the famous medium in Brazil, by the Spirit Emmanuel. The title is Joy and the Gospel. Whoever affirms finding the Gospel's religion, sorrow and bitterness commits great injustice. Undeniably, the seductivism has many times impregnated with dark clouds the Christian horizon, with certain forms of exterior worship. However, Christianity, in its essence, it's a profound revelation of heavenly joy amongst earthly shadows. The coming of the Messiah is preceded by the visitation of angels. Mary, joyful, converses with a divine messenger clarifying the celestial ambassador's arrival. Jesus is born in a humble manger, which is spotted by the bright light of an unexpected star. Pastoral peasants are called by a spiritual emissary, suddenly materialized in front of them, declaring himself the messenger of great joyful news to all the people. In the same stance, crystal-like voices sang songs in heaven, praising the Creator and exalting the peace and good will among men. You may find it at YouTube. It is Celtic Woman Group, and it is Jesus, Joy of Men's Desires. Bye-bye. And you may and it's really wonderful. Celtic Woman playing Jesus, Joyous of Men's Desire. You may find it on YouTube or on the stars. And while they sing, we're going to continue the reading of the Emmanuel's message. Contentment and hope starts reigning. Later, the Master begins his ministry at a wedding feast, marking the family's joy. As if sensing limitation and narrowness in any temple of stone to his word in the world, the Lord begins his preaching by the lake, in full nature sanctuary. Flowers and birds, light scent represented the frame of his message. Crowds hear his soothing voice. The sick and the lame are deeply touched by his consolations. The poor and afflicted glimpse new horizons in the future. Women and children accompany him cheerfully. The Sermon of the Mount is the anthem of the Beatitudes, suppressing grief and despair, through which the Divine Friend establishes contagious joy. In the open field, he multiplied bread for the hungry. The treatment given by the Master to the sufferers who were considered useless or worthless creates new standards of trust in the world. The good news apostolate unfolds under the climate of perfect joy. Each creator that are touched by the consoling gospel begins to contemplate the world and life through a different angle. The earth becomes a blessed school of spiritual preparation with sanctifying service for everyone. Each patient who is renewed to good health is a vehicle of happy cheer for the whole community. Each sufferer who is morally comforted becomes an edification for the immense crowd. Magdalene magnifies the love and becomes eternal beauty reborn, and Lazarus rises from the grave. Life resurges triumphant and immortal. And yet, the bloody sweat tears of the cross, the Lord makes the fountain of life flow victoriously for the whole world. The resurrection of the Son radiates in humanity, holding its spiritual growth toward the endless centuries. It's on the book Anthology, Medunick's Anthology of Christmas by the Spirit Emmanuel, psychographed by Francisco Cândido Xavier, is the Brazilian Spirits Federation. Well, now we have just got this wonderful message. We are supposed to discuss if joy, is it a virtue or a vice? What do you think? It's a virtue, isn't it? But in the Middle Ages, smiling was like a devil's thing. You remember the Name of the Rose by Umberto Eco, the book and the movie. And at the other hand, gospel, evangelion, from the Greek means good news. I guess we got the good news, but we didn't understand it correctly because many of us are not as glad as we should be, isn't it? Jesus turns water into wine at a wedding at Cana. He compares his staying as a wedding party when they ask why they did not the apostles did fast. And they say, how can they fast if they are with the groom? Now it's like a party because I'm here. And the Sermon of Mount, you know that blessed, do you know what blessed means? In the Greek translation, it means happy. So Jesus came to talk us about happiness. Happy are the humble in spirit, because they will the kingdom of heavens is for them. Happy are the one who weeps, because they will be comforted. So the Sermon Mountain is about happiness and joy. Blessed who are persecuted by the justice, because they did as the same with the prophets. And the scholars, the researchers, they say that sadness may develop diseases on us. So we shall try to be in constant joy and happiness. And in the Spirit's book by Allan Kardec, he asks us the superior spirits, and the question 719, is it a sin for a man to seek after the comforts and enjoyments of corporeal life? And the answer is, the desire for corporeal well-being is natural to man. God only prohibits excess, because excess is adverse to a healthy life. He has not made it a crime to seek after enjoyment, if that enjoyment is not acquired at another's expense, and if it be of a nature to weaken either your moral or your physical strength. So, we are allowed, of course, to be happy, but we cannot be happy at the expense of somebody else, or let us get so much lazy, that because this is going to lead us to accommodation, to inertia. You are not going to evolve. You are not going to develop our moral skins. So sometimes we need the struggles, and we need the challenges, and after the challenges, we're going to get a lot of joy. Joy is not going to be all the time, but after we surpass a challenge, we are going to be very glad, and that's what we are going to discuss today. On the other hand, in the question 721, asceticism, that the abstinence from various worldly pleasures, may be the result of selfishness. And the good spirits tell us, be useful to others. Because when you go to a high mountain just for looking for your own happiness, sometimes you're not helping any other, and you're thinking only about yourself. So it can be a kind of selfishness. And at the Gospel, according to the Spiritism, you know that Allan Kardec has organized a lot of wonderful books, and I'm going to tell you this advice so you can discover this wonderful doctrine that we call Spiritist doctrine. And the chapter 17, item 10, the worldly person, the man in the world. And there's a message from a spirit that's very interesting. Look at what he says. Always be happy and content with the happiness which comes from a clear conscience and the contentment of one who will inherit heaven and is counting the days till they receive the inheritance. So the spirits tell us we don't need to look like so sad, so serious. This is not sanity as we used to heard in the Middle Ages. So we are invited to be happy. And why are we here? Do you know why we're here? What is the human's life's purpose on earth? What is the mission of the spirits? Allan Kardec asks us in the Spirit's book. Are we here to suffer? No. We know that this is a different kind of world. It's a kind of trial and expiation. So it's not a superior world, and we're going to have a lot of challenges. Like Jesus has told us, my kingdom is not from this world. In this world, you're going to have afflictions. Yeah? But take heart, because Tom, help me. I I survived the world. I conquered the world. Jesus had told us. So in this world, you're not going to have complete happiness, but we shall be courageous. And so in this question, Allan Kardec tells us what we are doing here on earth. And the question and the answer, occupations and mission of the spirits. And in 558, he asks us, have spirits anything else to do but to work out their own personal amelioration, personal improvement? And the superior spirits say, they cooperate in the production of the harmony of the universe by executing the volitions, the will of God, whose ministers they are. Spirit's life is a continual occupation, but one that has nothing in common with the painful labor of earthly life, because there is neither bodily fatigue nor the anguish of bodily wants. So there's work, not only playing harps, but the much easier and joyful word. And what is sadness? Sadness is the satisfaction, inadequacy. It may be the result of beliefs, not knowing how to deal with the losses, perfectionism, frustration, not accepting reality, lack of motivation, hopelessness, impatience, compulsion to control others. Many people suffer because sometimes in the family the husband is dealing with drugs, with alcohol, or maybe the children, and often the family suffers much more than the guy or the young man who is using the drugs, because we have this compulsion to control the others' will, the other person. We want to change the others, and we suffer a lot. That's why we study about the codependence and not only about the dependence of the vices. Okay, and through a repetition, like if we're praying in opposite way, because we are feeding bad feelings, we are feeding sad thoughts, all these beliefs and lack of motivation, frustration. It becomes like a hypnotic process, like a self-obsession. And the bad spirits, they're going to amplify this, they're going to improve these fogs, and going to lead you to a state of very, very anguish, very sad state that you should not. So we need to watch out, like Jesus has told us. Watch out and pray. He's telling us to watch out our fogs, not to watch out our husband or the neighborhood or the chief. No, sometimes the husband, it's okay to watch out, but he's telling us to watch out our fogs, our emotions, so we do not fall into temptation. Okay? That is the meaning that we believe is the most correct. And what is the main cause of humans' moral imperfections? Well, in the book The Genesis and the Miracles of Jesus Explained by Jesus, by Allan Kardec, in the chapter 3, item 10, there's the answer. If one studies all the passions, even all vices, one sees that they have their origin in the instinct of self-preservation. So this Allan Kardec does not go further, but our spiritual guide, named Samuel, he told me, Nazareno, what are the instincts of self-conservation? Hungriness, thirstlessness, the sex, and we need to sleep, but we have a very strong instinct that is fear. And fear is going to be like a matrix of a lot of vices. Because of the fear we have, we don't know what is going to happen in the future, then we become more selfishness. We think, first of all, in us. And we, Chris, and we get a lot of money and houses and treasures because we are very feared. We were terrified, yes. Afraid, yes, we're afraid. Because we are afraid of rejection. Is the second biggest fear in the psychology. They say that we have a lot of fear of rejection, so we want to please our relatives, our parents, relatives. And we want to do whatever they wish us to do. Sometimes we're going to work in something, but they have the call for that. We not have the vocation. Yes, we have not the vocation. We're going to develop frustration, and we're going to try to make money because people applause us who is rich in this world. Then we're going to develop cobiça, ganância, greedy, and so on. So a lot of vices. Even the envy, when we see that women that are such beautiful and young and lovely hairs and nice eyes and a wonderful smile, and they are rich and they're famous like the supermodels, and we look at them and they look like a threat to our self-esteem because they make us think that we are not as good as we should be, and we are afraid of rejection. So we develop the envy, and we to struggle this, we start to talk bad things about them, the maledicência, the gossips, gossip, and because making they get lower, it looks like that we grow up. So you see a lot of vices, the selfishness, the pride. We don't want to be wrong, so we are always trying to be the owner of the truth, and so on. And the pride, selfishness, and anxiety. Who had anxiety anytime here? Who had gastrite? A gastrite? Gastrite? Yes, because of anxiety here. Anybody? Yeah. What is anxiety? Anxiety is being afraid of the future, what is going to come. And in Spiritism, the good spirits tell us there's a plan before we reincarnate. So we are only going to pass through the challenges, the trials, or the expiations that are necessary to our development. So we shall not be afraid, like Jesus has told us. Spiritism is going to confirm a lot of things that Jesus has told us. Jesus told us, don't you sell 2 birds for just $1? And I tell you the truth that no of them fall into the ground without the permission of our Heavenly Father. So don't be afraid, because you are more valuable than many birds. Even every single hair in your heads, it's numbered. In my case, it's even easier to count, isn't it? There's not much. So Jesus has told us there's not a fatality. We have free will, but there's a plan that, because we had free will before we reincarnate, is in the question 258 of the Spirit's book, and we accept a lot of trials, and we, as God is sovereignly just and fair, we only go through what is necessary for us. Everything that we go through is for the best of us. Like Paul used to say, always bless the Lord, because everything is good for us. Everything is for our benefit. Yes. Thank you, friend. And what is joy? Joy is satisfaction, contentment. Adaptation is different from euphoria, because euphoria sometimes is a mental disorder. And the spirit Joana de Angelis, by the medium Divaldo Franco, used to say that dissatisfaction is useful to the progress, because otherwise we're going to lay down and relax, and we're not going to evolve. So adaptation leads to inertia, accommodation, inactivity, immobility. So we need the challenges, and in the gospel, in the Spirit's book, there's a chapter about happiness and unhappiness. And Allan Kardec asks us in question 921, we can conceive that man will be happy upon the earth when the human race shall have been transformed. But meanwhile, is it possible for each man to ensure for himself a moderate amount of happiness? And the Spirit answers, man is more often the artisan of his own unhappiness. If he obeyed the law of God, he would not only spare himself much sorrow, but would also procure for himself all the felicity that is compatible with the grossness of earthly existence. So, if the Spirits tell us, it's like an academy school. We are here to develop our feelings, our mental skills, like patience, like hope, like faith, like charity, love, and so the good things. So we are like in an academy. We're working out like a gym, and we have problems, challenges to help us to develop ourselves. We always have problems, but suffering is optional. And joy is the result of the achievements of the challenges and the victories we go through in this world. And we have a lot of reasons to have more happiness in these days. We just don't realize them. But you see, in the past, so many thousands of years of wars. Now we have civilization. Sometimes wars, but much more or less. And drugs, like in Ceará, I'm from Ceará, a place there is a lot of drugs. Now we have irrigation. At the past we have cold, snow. Now we have fire, heating, air conditioning. At the forest, the fierce animals. Now we have pets, and darkness. Now we have energy, light. At the past, diseases. Now we have medical treatments. Pain, now we have anesthesia. At the past, nostalgia, loneliness. Now we have communications through the internet and so on, satellites and so on. The past, we had slavery, hundreds of years of slavery. And now we have freedom. We had a lot of sadness. Now we have so much arts, music, poetry, and so on. At the past, we have so much ignorance. Now we have the science, the knowledgement. And at the past, we are longing for Jesus. We're missing his message, and he told us he was going to send us the promised counselor, that we believe that Spiritism has everything that is necessary to fulfill the prophecy of Jesus. And the gospel, according to Spiritism, is our guess. And the chapter 5 and item 24, we're going to see, to read a message. The title is The True Misfortune. It's by the Spirit Delphine de Girardin. I'm sorry about my French. It's from Ceará also. So, but I hope you understand. And you take a look at when you get home. All these books are available in the internet, like in e-books or audiobooks, and in Portuguese. And in English, you have available as PDF and so on. Okay. We believe that we satisfying the wishes, we're going to have the happiness, but they have consequences. We believe that if we sleep, we're going to be very happy, but we will going to lose the treasure of time. We believe that the Spirit shall do everything for us, and we won't have the merits, and we're not going to develop. So they are not going to carry on us on their hands, because otherwise, like a children, we are not going to learn how to walk by ourselves. And as we are supposed to be angels someday, because in the creation there are no privileges, God creates every single day spirits, and they are born single and with no experience, no knowledgement, and they going to evolve through the million of years. So we need these challenges, and the spirits are not going to do what we are supposed to do, okay? We believe that the happiness is richness, and the spirits tell us that richness is good because it's a consequence of the work, and the work is a law of God, but it's a hard trial because it improves our selfishness and our pride. And so we should be very careful about richness. We may fail, and we're going to be afraid about kidnapping, and after we die, many times families get completely destroyed, splitting the inheritance. So, no, Nazareno, I want to seduce. I want to look for the twin soul. I want to be like Casanova, like Don Juan. Some people think this is the best thing in life. But, in a matter of fact, we're going to trap ourselves. And we're going to, in Portuguese, we say almas gêmeas, twin souls. It's very similar to handcuffings, algemas, and sometimes we're attaching ourselves to a lot of people, making a lot of people suffering also. So, being a Casanova is not a good idea in the spiritual way of life, okay? Sometimes someone of say, oh no, the best thing is to retire. When I get retired, I'll be happy. And what does it happen? We got depression. One of the main causes of depression is the retirement. And as you are not busy, people are going to ask you to do small jobs. Em português we say, já que tu não está fazendo nada, vai para a farmácia. Já que, né? How do you say? Is there any? Yes, go for this, go for that, go for that. And so, and you're not going to have satisfaction, I guarantee. So, it's very. And so, which are, Nazareno, some remedies to have a joyful life? Well, we were going to tell you to develop lovingness, like in this house, the Spirit Center. It's not only a temple, it's a house, it's a family. Yesterday we had a wonderful brunch, and dozens of people were here congratulating and eating a lot also, and it was a very special moment. And the spirits tell us that love is the spirit's food. We have a lot of things, but many of us are so empty inside. How it's important us to develop the lovingness. We need to be more affectuous, isn't it? And we shall train even the gratitude. Gratitude is very good, and there's a philosophy you shall know. It's from Japan, and 1940, like Seichonoye. How do you say in English? Seichonoye. Yes, they have wonderful studies and praise and songs when they develop gratitude. And we are invited by the spirits at the moment of the prayer, not only to ask, because Jesus has told us God knows what we really need, our spiritual needs, not like an infant, like a child that asks for things that are not really good in the spiritual way. But we should pray also to remember the blessing of every day we have. The life, the reincarnation, the family, the challenges, and everything that we have, and everything that is bad that did not happen to us, and even the bad things that happen to us. Chico Xavier used to say that that thing that is apparently the bad, in a matter of fact, it's good, but we don't have eyes to see yet. But someday, somewhere, we're going to understand that this was good for us. And somehow, it helped us to develop, to change, and so everything happened to us. If we do not commit suicide or do bad things, we're going to learn something also. But it's not the best. But everything that comes to us is for the best of us. And I would invite you to know Spiritism. Spiritism was codified. It means it was just organized by Allan Kardec. He was a man of science in the 19th century, and he wrote a lot of books. And these books, studying the mediumship, knowing that mediumship has a lot of problems, the mediums are not saints, the mediums are not, and the spirits are not gods. The spirits are just the souls, men that live on earth. And as we, some know more than us, some know nothing else than us, and some know even less than us know. And when we pass away, it doesn't mean that we get, wow, enlightenment, and not become angels. No, the nature does not evolve jumps. So we just the same. And Allan Kardec had this information, had been very careful. He listened to, like St. Paul used to say, do not despise the prophecies. Read and watch, look at what is good and retains the good. And as John has used to tell us in his letter, he says, do not believe in every spirit, but look after if this spirit is from God. Because there are good spirits, bad spirits, superior spirits, and very bad spirits also. Okay? So Spiritism is going to help us. And what happened after the Spiritist doctrine? After we know the Spiritist doctrine, it's going to have this grade that is going to help us to understand and have a lot more joy. Before, mediumship was like a witchcraft, or only madness, or a way to deceive people, as we see today. So being a medium does not mean that it is a Spiritist one. Because a Spiritist medium is completely different than a regular medium. Because having the faculty to communicate with the spirits does not mean he knows how to not to be deceived by the bad spirits. And Allan Kardec has brought this wonderful work that is the codification, the principal 5 books that we're going to see: the Spirit's book, the Gospel according to Spiritism, and the Medium's book. At least these 3 ones should be a mandatory reading for all of us. Okay? So there are a lot of people that are medium, and the people say, oh, this is bullshit, this is not true, because they don't know Spiritism, and they are deceived by the spirits, and even themselves, they are not prepared, because in this stage of evolution, we don't have a mediumship like Jesus had. Jesus could see the spirits, they could talk to the spirits, he could heal the sick, he could walk over the sea, he could prophesy the future, and so he was the perfect medium. Like we had other good mediums, like Francis of Assisi, like Joan of Arc, and many others, many saints were mediums, like Chico Xavier also. But at the time of Allan Kardec, a great number of wonderful mediums, children of 14, 15 years old only, and these young ladies wrote wonderful books for us, bringing the acknowledgement of the superior spirits, and organized and classified and separating what is good and what is not good by separating what is good and what is not by Allan Kardec. So after Spiritism, mediumship is an opportunity to help. In some cases, not mediumship, but mental disorders or charlatanism. We have this even so. Mediums, in the past, they were saint, witch, mad, or a fraud. But now we are mediums at development. At the old doctrines and philosophies, there was a rigid hierarchy. And now we are in the Spiritism invited to fraternity. At the past, blind obedience, a part of science. We could not question, and people could not even read the Bible at the Middle Ages. only some years recently we had the opportunity to read the Bible. Like Lutero did. He translated to German because it was only in Latin and nobody spoke Latin at the time, and it was just reserved for the people in the church. And now it's easy for all of us. In Spiritism, we're not going to be called to asceticism, but through altruism, to do charity. And at the past we had fasts, and in Spiritism we are invited to temperance. In the other times we had restrictions for some foods or some ways to kill the animals. And the Spirit tells us that we should feed ourselves according to the constitution of the body. It's on the Spirit's book in question 723, I guess. In the past, we had the necessity of initiation, baptism, and something. And in Spiritism, I'm sorry, it is in Portuguese, we are invited to moral transformation, to inner transformation. In the past, the necessity of confession, and the Spiritism, we know that the God's law is in our consciousness. The question 600, consciousness is in this question 621. Before we had a vengeful God. In Spiritism, we know God like a father, as Jesus had told us. At the past, God punishes. Now we know that God only loves. He had perfect laws, and if we do not go on the right way, we have the consequences of our free will, but it's not God's punishment. Okay? Sometimes we used to hear about the original sin. In the Spiritism, we're going to take the gospel of Jesus very clear and revival, to which one according to his deeds. At the past, we used to speak about guilt. In Spiritism, we are called to change this word to responsibility. At the past, the eternal punishment, like eternal hell. And the Spiritism, we know that there are fair consequences. We beat our future, and love covers a multitude of sins, like Peter has told us in his letter. Work was used to be like a punishment. And in Spiritism, we know work is a blessing, and it's a mental therapy for us, and as we've seen. At the past, blood sacrifices, rituals, and we remember Jesus has telling us, I desire mercy, not sacrifice. At the past, you used to do promises and bargaining with the gods. Now in the Spiritism, we know the law of love, mercy, and justice. And everything is going to be according to the need and the merit of each one. At the past, asceticism, enclosure, like being a monastery. And in Spiritism, no. The Spirit says, live as men live in your time. And the past imposed a mandatory celibacy. And now we are invited to a responsible sexuality, and not this. Before we have inevitable, inexorable karma. And Spiritism, we know about the law of cause and effect. Divaldo has told us it's like our karma is dynamic. Because the good that we do today is our lawyer anywhere, says the Spirit Emmanuel. And Jesus has told us, when that woman comes into the houses of Simon the Pharisee, and she is weeping, and Jesus tells them, because she loved us so much, her sins were forgiven. At the past, we were invited for self-martyrdom, and now we are invited for progressive moral reform. At the past, we should fear the devils and envy of angels, and have envy of the angels. Now, the spirits are the men's souls that live on earth. Our young brothers, the devils, and are our victims, because the the bad spirits, in the most of them, are victims from the past. God is fair. As He respects our free will, He respects the free will of that person that we have hurt in the past. And He allows them to try to revenge, because they work like a personal trainer. Do you know what is personal trainer? Right. Yeah, that guy that we pay for him to be very soon at home, and at 6 a.m. said, Nazareno, come, let's run, and we work out, and we swim, and so on. And at the lunchtime, he comes, look at our food, and said, you're only going to have to eat only this and that, and as dessert, just a gelatin, jelly, only jelly, and you see. So personal training is a good thing, not a bad thing. It's a good thing, because you're going to be thinner, you're going to be healthier, the cholesterol is going to be better, the blood pressure, and so on. So it's a wonderful thing. Now, self-esteem and healthiness, even so. Even finding a job is easy when you're in good shape. So it's a good thing, but we don't like. But it's so. Like personal trainers of our spiritual development, these guys are helping us. So in Spiritism, we look at them as our victims, as our young brothers, and we thank for them. We pray for them like Jesus has told us. Love your enemies. Pray for the one who persecutes you, and so on, and do good things for them. So we are invited for love in Spiritism. The angels are our elders and good brothers, and as Jesus, as this Psalm 82 says, I say, you are gods. You are all children of the Most High. At the past, it was forbidden to question. In Spiritism, it's free thinking. We are invited to ask. Forbidden books, and now we, as I told you, as Thessalonicenses, St. Paul's letter 5:21, he says, do not despise prophecies, but test everything that is said. Hold on to what is good. The past, there were forbidden clothes. Now we are invited to proper dressing. Mandatory tithe, that's the good part, that everybody likes it. Huh? You don't have to give 10% of all your money. No, in the Spiritism, the contribution is always voluntary. So you have such a difference that Spiritism has come to explain us and to help us to have more joyful. Before, death used to separate mothers and children. Now we are always together. Love never dies. Sometimes the past there were mysteries. Now logical and rational answers. That's why I like Spiritism. I was a theist for 12 years, and after a depression, after a big problem, I had found Spiritism, read it, and I said, wow, this is what I was looking for. This is the explanation I was looking for, by the reincarnation and the advices of the good spirits. And the past mythologic and legends, and now the Spiritism explains the metaphors and the symbolism. The past secrets reserved for small groups, and now love one another and educate yourselves is the advice of the Spirit of Truth, the commander of the third revelation, as we know in the Spiritism. Much will be required from everyone to whom much has been given. And the Gospel, according to Spiritism, Allan Kardec tells us, much will be asked of Spiritists, because they have received much. On the other hand, to those who have taken every advantage of their learning, much will be given. Wow, Nazareno, I never heard anybody say that. I only heard the first part. Much will be required from everyone to whom much will have been given. But Allan Kardec tells us that if we take advantage of this, much will be given as to us. So let's take our chance. And at the past, privilege for a few in Spiritism is the meritocracy. Salvation with no efforts, and now law of evolution, to each one according to their deeds. The past, happiness is not from this world. And in Spiritism, we know the happiness with resignation here, now, and forevermore. Because happiness, it's according to the perfection of the spirits. The more perfect we get, the more happy we're going to be. After the Spiritism, we had ugliness. For example, ugliness in Spiritism we're going to realize that it's protection. It's like an armor. Because have you seen Mother Teresa? Mother Teresa was not beautiful, was she? Sister Dulce in Brazil, Chico Xavier in Brazil, Francis of Assisi, people say he was very ugly. And even his monks who sometimes ask, why does everybody want to follow you? Because you are not rich, you are not gorgeous, you are not noble, and why does everybody want to be near to you? Why does everybody want to listen to you? And he said, because God's eyes didn't find such a most unuseful serve and verme inútil, useful worm, and he uses me to confuse the richness, the power, the beauty, so the man may know that every virtue comes from God and not from the Creator. So we're going to see that sometimes this ugliness is like a protection, because these men they had such a charisma and magnetism that if they were not as ugly, they could fail in this mission, their mission. So, who is on earth which is not gorgeous? It's just fine. It's protected. It's like an armor. Okay? So don't worry. See, like Spiritism is good for happiness. And we know that depression may be longing for the spirit world, because it's much better than here. Employment, we have always voluntary work in the spirit centers. Suffering, we know there is an opportunity to wake up, to learn, and not to be rebelling ourselves, and so on. I guess this grace had some more things, but by the time is coming. So, what changes? At the past, jealousy. We have confidence, envy. Now we have pity, because some people that is very rich, very beautiful, they are on hard trials either. And now, Nazareno, I have a problem. I have a problematic child or children. And the Gospel, according to Spiritism, St. Augustine has told us in the chapter 1489 that God will recompensar. Reward huge and enormously the relatives who had problematic children. And the mission is not as that difficult we think. It's not as hard as we think, okay? So, because it's like the lost sheep that Jesus has told us. When he recovers that lost sheep, he's more happy than the 99 other ones that he left at the mount. Proofs and trials becomes opportunities of development and growing. And are sex and pleasures sins? And Spiritism, no. Sex with love and responsibility, it's okay. And if somebody else is suffering, we used to suffer else, we're going to understand and be solidary, but we're going to do charity without salvationism. We're not going to save the other people, because it's not our mission. Our mission is to develop ourselves. So we're going to help, we're going to assist, but we're not going to change other people, okay? At the past, suicide, normally the people believe that they were going to eternal hell, and the Spiritism, you know, that is an intensive suffering, but learning also, and never eternal, and no one is out of God's reach. So everybody has chances because of reincarnation to come back and so on. The past, the illusion of the matter, like the Yunus say, Maya, we now will have the spiritual reality. Death, now we see death like freedom, like a passport to the real life. And there's some training for the perfect joy. Next time I come here, I promise I'll teach you. And look at the missionaries of Jesus. All of them were joyful. Francis of Assisi and Clare, even with the poorness, if the cold, the snow, and people that didn't understand his mission, and so on, but he had the perfect joy because he understood that this world is a trial and expiation world, and he believed truly that in the spiritual world we're going to have the perfect happiness and love Jesus as nobody has ever did before. Chico Xavier, the Brazilian medium, and this other one, it is at this side in the black-white photo, it's Peixotinho, Francisco Peixoto Lins. He used to be a medium of materialization of spirits, very rare and wonderful, and both were very, very glad and happy. Chico, you liked it very much to say jokes, simple jokes, and play with his problems. He was always laughing, and he was the greatest characters of Chico Xavier was not the humility. He was very humble, but the greatest characteristic of Chico Xavier was the joy of living. And this is Jerônimo Mendonça, the giant of joy and resignation, also from Brazil. He had a disease when he was very young. He loved the Tarzan's movies, and he was very healthy, tall, and he looked at the mirror and he used to say, "Hey, Tarzan," to the mirror. Nobody knew, only him. And he became a spiritist, and then he went to a spiritual meeting, and a spirit has told him, "I bring a message for somebody known as Tarzan. And I want to tell you that you are going to get inside the forest of the suffering. So hold on the cipó, on the vine, like a rope, and of the faith and the hope, because it's not going to be easy, my friend." And after that, he's going to watch the movie Gone with the Wind. And he was always playing after and said, "After I went to the movie, the wind took even my legs, because he became completely paralyzed in his body. He only could move his mouth. And when I got sick, had to be taken out. And the other 6 months later, this got a sickness also, and he became completely blind and stuck in a bed, and he could not move. And even so, this man was singing, was talking, giving lectures all over Brazil, and he built a shelter for children and spirit centers, recorded a lot of lectures, and they used it to put a telephone adapted to his face. He was all night long talking to people who wanted to commit suicide. And he was talking about the joy of living. Once he was in the TV show, and the reporter asked him, "Geronimo, which was your greatest desire if you could ask God?" "I would ask that if I could change just my body, just to change the side I am. Roll over. And a woman that was thinking of committing suicide watched the program show, called them, and said, I'm not going to do this anymore because of the example of this man. And he was always kidding and talking and making jokes. And he used to speak as Divaldo Franco, and people got in the auditorium and said, is Divaldo here? No, it was here, him, just imitando, né? Imitating. And one day they had to get his bed to go through the second floor, and it was very small Spirit Center. There's only a spiral stair, and the president said, Jeremy, are you sure you are going to get up? Because you need to move your bed, and you may fall down. And it's going to be dangerous. Are you sure? I said, yes, I'm sure. We came to do the lecture. I said, but are you completely sure of this? He was already blind, and he said, I don't want even see this. And he did the lecture. And Divaldo has told us that after he passed away, his spirit came and talked to him. Divaldo, you were a wonderful lecturer, a wonderful speaker. Because after your lectures, people used to applaud you. Applaud you de pé, in foot, up. Stand up. Stand up ovation. But I was much better than you. I said, why is that, Geronimo? Because when I finished our lecture, I was taken by the crowd, you know? Because he wasn't in the bed, and they need to get the bed out of the place. He was carried by the crowd. And so, look at this man. It's wonderful. Many, many stories about Jerome Mendonça. And to finish, the last one, he was in the movies, and they put his bed on the front door, and a lady that came after the movie has just started, and the light went off. Then she didn't see the bed and dropped it, and she fell over, and she said, but it's not possible. Wherever I go, this handicap is here. If I go to the soccer game, he's there. If I go to a restaurant, he's over there also. And even in the movies, the theaters, he's here. And instead of being angry with the woman, what does he say? Well, honey, you don't stop at home. You don't stop at home. You don't stay home. You're always out. And so he was always laughing and kidding. So, my friends, those ones who know Jesus Christ have motives of joy and resignation. And as at last we're going to see are some words of Jesus. It is not written, ye are gods. Ye are gods. You're able to do everything that I do and more, if you will. Ye are the salt of the earth, the ferment of the bread, the light of the world. In the same way, let your light shine before men, that they may see your good deeds and praise your Father in heaven. This is our Master. This is the Master that Spiritism brings us to renew his message and to explain everything that we are longing to see. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, our friend in Nazareno. That was really, really nice. I was amazed when you just said, I could find a way for my mom and dad to be very proud, because they're going to recompensate and double for the problematic child that I was on my early age. So now I'm very proud of that. Thank you so much for letting me know. You made my night. Yeah, you made my night. Now we have some time. As we are going to a little bit late tonight, we're not going to have our passes. We're going to do our vibrations and visualizations all together. So that gives us some time, which is good in a way, because give us some time for questions and answers. If anyone has any questions for Nazareno.
Only easy questions?
Yeah, please.
But the difficult ones you may do, because Alex is here.
No. Tom will reply. We'll answer those, the difficult ones.
In English?
in English. In English, yes. Does anybody have any questions, or would you like to make any comments or anything?
No, it's just, you seem to use Francis of Assisi a lot. Do you relate with him more?
Relate?
Sometimes he's good.
Yes, I would say if you feel linked to him somehow, if you like him, there's very special
Yes.
reason why.
I have read a lot of biographies of Francis of Assisi, and my spiritual mentor, it was a Franciscan monk,
Right.
and I have I'm very close to
Okay.
That's what he was saying.
the Franciscan spirit, yes, and his story is very touchy, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So, there's a wonderful movie by Paulinus. Paulinus, I guess it's in a lot of different languages. It's Francis and Claire. As I showed to you, this is the. No, it's not Franco Zeffirelli. It's this one. This is the. Can you show, Chris, please? This is the photo of the DVD, and a very good book is Saint Francis of Assisi by Maria Stico. She's Italian. She's dead already, but she is the best biography of Francis of Assisi that I ever read. Wonderful. He's a very good medium, and especially a wonderful and true Christian.
Bless you. Thank you. I have some art one.
Tom,
I
please.
think everyone has a guardian spirit that's with them all the time.
Tom is asking, I'm going to repeat because of the microphone, if everybody does have a spiritual guardian, like a guardian angel, and the spirits books, the Allan Kardec asks, and the good spirits tell us that it's true, that everybody has a special friend that is always with us when he cannot. He is replaced by somebody else, but to help us, and they are here to help us to go through this, because we are immortal spirits in a very short experience, material experience, not the contrary. We believe that this is the real life, and the spiritual life is something you don't know. No, it's in the eternity. One life is just like a minute, you know. So the spirits tell us, take heart, don't. It's okay. Forward. God is in control of everything. God is love, and Jesus is our lovely master and the most perfect spirit that ever lived on earth. Like this, they ask the answer to Allan Kardec, the question 625. So I would like you to read the Spirit's book, the Gospel according to the Spiritism, and the Medium books. At least these three books are very important, and one from Chico Xavier, Francisco Cândido Xavier, it's Astral City, Nosso Lar, our home, in a regular translation, but it's available including a movie, Nosso Lar, like a Astral City. You may find even the book.
Even the translation here is Nosso Lar.
Yes, even the new translation is Nosso Lar, and you're going to find out wonderful things. He's like a reporter telling what happens after. How is the spiritual life with details, and it's very, very pleasant. It's amazing book, and there's audiobooks even, and I hope you find a lot of joy with faith. And because I told this about the instinct of self-preservation, isn't it? But I didn't tell what was the medication. What's the best remedies to strike the fear? What is the best remedy for this to strike the fear? Faith. That's perfect. With faith, and Allan Kardec told us that unshakable faith is that one that can face reason face to face in any time of humankind. So we know that it's important to have faith. But sometimes people say, Nazareno, I know, but I have a very little faith. How can we develop faith? Because I don't want to be selfish. I don't want to be jealous. I don't want to be anxious. I don't want to be pride and so many other problems that everything that comes with the fear. And what is the best thing to make our faith to be improved? Knowledgement. Very good. And like Jesus has told us, know the truth, and the truth will set you free, will set you free. Yes. So the knowledge of the laws of the universe, who are we, immortal spirits? Where we come from, where we're going, how can we achieve the perfect happiness? We're going to find out and work out to get it, all of this. And the Spirit's revelation is going to explain all this for a lot of us. Okay? Any other questions? The easy ones for me, the difficult ones for Alex. And I appreciate very much being here with you. And God bless you. God bless this love house of faith and work towards the good. And God bless America and all the humankind. Okay?
Well, I would like to thank you again, Nazareno, for this wonderful talk. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation to be here with us tonight. It was such a blessing. It was such a pleasure. And we were looking forward to having you again sometime in the near future. That was really, really nice.
Thank you. I want to do a special thank to you and to Tom, Fran, that helped me with the translation.
I helped nothing. I did nothing. I did nothing. Priscilla and Tom, they did all the work. Even not having the passes tonight, if anyone needs any special talk or conversation or support after the meeting, after the talk, you will be available to do that. That's not because we're not having the passes tonight that we can't talk or we can't have a special care for anyone that feels that are in need for that. Okay, please just come to see us after our vibration and then final prayer. Talking about vibration, we're gonna vibrate today, celebrating the joy in life, celebrating this message that we just received. And we are going to put our minds to think and reflect and about everything that we heard here tonight. And as our mind thinks and reflects, we're going to put a knowledge into our hearts as well. And when we put the knowledge into our hearts, we started to transform our life through actions, through behaviors, through attitudes, through words. And as we started to act differently, we also start our new pathway towards perfection, towards learning, towards evolvement, and towards progress. Which, bottom line, is pretty much everything that we were looking for into this life. A meaning for our life. And the main purpose that we have, as we saw tonight, is our own enlightenment. And our own enlightenment will come through knowledge and change of behavior. As in a first step to show our Heavenly Father that we are changing our behavior, our thoughts. Instead of thinking just in us, on us, about us, we're going to start to think about the others, about the ones which are more in need than we are right now, the ones which are looking for the light, for the blessings, for the energy, for the love that we can generate here and spread out around our center, our neighborhood, our city, our state, our country, and our world. Jesus has taught us that every time that we are in 2 or more people, he would be among us. And as we are in more than 2 right now, for sure Jesus is here. And we all can see him walking through those doors, shining light around him. And as he walks in this room, we can feel the energy that he's bringing with us, the love he's bringing with him. All those wonderful lights and colors and shinings and everything that he's spreading out around us right now. And touched by him, by his thoughts, by his feelings, by his teachings. As we get touched, we can generate inside of us that energy, that love, that we're putting together with him, we can spread out towards everywhere, towards everyone. Let's involve our planet in vibrations and thoughts of peace and love. Let's involve every country in waves of energy in favor of material and spiritual progress. Let's send comforted vibrations of love for those who are suffering any type of tribulation or sorrow. Let's send our best towards those who are leaving this material world, especially those who passed away recently, and the ones which are coming to this earth also to accept their new challenges and their new lives. Let's visualize God's light being shed upon all of those who will suffer in the hospitals and the prisons for pains, for lack of challenge, for lack of care, for lack of food, for lack of love. Dear God, our Heavenly Father, please bless all of our friends and our brothers around the world, that they can be as blessed as we are being right now, that they can have the same energies and the same feelings that we are having right now. And as we also need the special touchings and the special blessings from the spiritual realm, we're going to ask for our special friends, our guardian angels, that we can be shine upon us at this moment. Those lights of calmness, tranquility, and serenity, that we can start to feel the love which is surrounding us, and we can start to give it away, everything that we received. Because as much as we give, as much as we get back. As much love we spread around, as much love we will get back from God. Dear Lord, our Heavenly Father, thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity. Please bless all of our friends, the ones that couldn't make it tonight, the ones which are back home waiting for us, and all of our friends, that they can be as blessed as we are at this moment. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive our trespasses as we forgive those who had trespasses against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. It's just me that are feeling the love over here, or everybody else is feeling that? I think that we can touch love. We can take it. We can feel in the heart and material way. Very nice. Nazareno, that's Such a pleasure to having you here. Thank you so much for coming. That was unbelievable.